So, hello everybody. Just a bit of a disclaimer in advance. We are going to create a CMS from scratch, but it won't be looking pretty with code. So, just that you know in advance. We have 3 hours. I'm not completely sure if we have enough time to cover everything we need, but we'll see. It depends on you a bit. About us, me and Dan, who will be helping us. I'm Willem-Jan Zijderveld, Dutch name, pretty long, don't try to pronounce it. I'm a developer at candidate.com, a company that creates software for recruiters to help them process the candidates. My Twitter handle, GitHub, and my blog, more or less obvious. Dan, do you want to introduce yourself?
My name is Attendees.
So, what to expect from this workshop today? At first I will introduce PHPCR a bit, tell what it's about, where it started, how you would use it, what are some differences between relational databases and things like MongoDB. Who has been to the Mongo workshop this morning with Ryan, with Derek, I mean? About half. After that we will start the actual workshop. It are 4 parts. They might be a bit long, so I hope to split them up a bit. But we'll see how far we get with each part before moving on. And if we have time around, we can play around. We have some topics we can show you maybe, but we'll see when if we get there. So the history of PHPCR. It's a project that started from a Java specification, JSR. It started with, I think it started with 383. It's since then moved to 333, version 2. Type restarted it back in 2008. As I understand it, but I'm not 100% sure about the facts, is that they like the ID, they still use the ID, but they don't use PHPCR anymore. In 2010, sort of, Leech from Switzerland took over development for a big part with Lucas and David. Dan and I joined in early 2013, sort of, almost at the same time. So that's that. The basic ID of PHPCR, well, it's PHP, and it's a content repository, PHPCR. This is from Wikipedia. It's pretty long. I just make it a bit shorter. A bunch of data, easy accessible. That's the idea of PHPCR. Standards to allow you to communicate your data, search your data, that kind of stuff, and to structure your data. PHPCR itself is no implementation. It are only interfaces, just as the JSR spec is just interfaces. We will be using an implementation, but I will tell about that a bit later. So it defines an API for developers to write code against. So whenever you have a project that uses PHPCR, you don't have actually usually to know which implementation you are using, because you always have the same API to talk against. It does provide some extras. In this case, it provides a set of tests that you can run against your integration. I'm not sure how accurate this screenshot is, because I just stole it from the internet, but there are 1,500 tests over here. I'm guessing it's a lot more in the meantime. But well, July 2014, it's not that old.
It's more or less a test for each section of specification.
Yeah.
So I think the specification is 17 listings parts. Each one defines some functionality of PHPCR. And so you have to test to ensure all the specifications are. So I think the specification is 17 listings. So each one defines some functionality of PHPCR. And so you have to test to ensure all the specifications are. So each one defines some functionality of PHPCR. And so you have to test to ensure all the specifications are. So each one defines some functionality of PHPCR. And so you have to test to ensure all the specifications are. So each one defines some functionality of PHPCR.
So it, yeah, so it covers the reading, writing, versioning, access control. I don't know all 17 by heart, but that a lot of them. And an important part is storage independence. So PHPCR doesn't define where you store your data. You can store it in flat files. You can store it in MySQL. You can store it in Jackrabbit, which is a bit of an edge case. But it's a really strong part. You can just switch storages if you would like. It also has some other utilities. We are using a few of them. And those are not part of the spec, but just provided to help you with developing your application. So it has SQL2. It has a query language you can use to talk to your database. We won't be using that in the workshop in the official part. If you have time left, we might be able to use that. CND, it's a format to define node types. So I'll explain that a bit later because it's part of the workshop as well. Some console commands to initialize your database or your no, sorry, that's not true. That's another command, but it has some helpers to dump your nodes from your storage, and it has some helpers like generating UIDs and then just small things. So what is the content repository? It's a hierarchical way of storing your data. So it's really good to use in websites, in CMS, in where you have a lot of structured data that's related to each other also. And you have to see it as a big tree of nodes. So what some of you saw with MongoDB, it's very strong if you have a lot of nodes, a lot of documents in a row. That's not what PHPCR is good at. But what Mongo wasn't really good at was nesting to a very deep level. That's what PHPCR is really good at, the spec. A strong part of it is compound data. So you can save binary data in your storage. So that makes it easy, for example, if you have documents or images on your website, to just have that in your tree at the place where you use it. So that's pretty helpful. We will be using that as well. It's schemaless. It doesn't define by standard how to structure your data. But you can add structure with node types. Node types are, how do you say, it's a way of describing how your nodes should look like. So in this case, I have anti-file. Anti-file defines for you that a child node should be a resource. Part of the resource is the binary data itself. It also has the MIME type should be stored, and stuff like that. Mixed versionable, we will, yeah?
Yeah, just so node types, they kind of map to the content of those types maps to classes. So you have a node type which gives extent of node types.
Yeah.
So all node types of PHPCR extend an empty base. And then you define new node types, extend empty base, and add constraints for the opposite constraints.
Yeah. But we will be using those, so we will be explaining more about how the file, what I just mentioned, the CND files, how what each part means, because you can define quite a lot in your node types. We're almost ready to write some code. Are there already some questions? None? Nice. So the implementation we are using is, as far as I know, the only actual implementation in PHP at the moment. I'm not sure if Dan has another one in mind, but Jackalope is the one we are working on, and as far as I know, the only one that exists. And we will be using Jackrabbit as storage, as backend. So in this case, Jackalope is the implementation itself that has, well, I'm not going into detail about that. And we use Jackrabbit. It's a separate repository on GitHub to actually do the transport layer between PHPCR as an API and Jackrabbit, the storage itself. So where are we going to start? We'll start with a little scheme about how, sorry, how you would set up a connection sort of with PHPCR with implementation of. You log into a repository, you receive a session from that. Within that session, you can manipulate nodes, retrieve, create nodes. But important thing is that you have to save those. So while working in the session, you can change a lot of nodes and stuff, but it won't get persisted until you actually save it. So you can see it like a transaction, sort of. Besides that, you also have a workspace, which helps you to differentiate between parts of an application. You can almost see it like a database. You can have multiple workspaces besides each other. So ready for part one. First, we are going to create some content, because we are starting with a clean plate. We are creating something from scratch. And we are going to, after that, serve the content based on the request URI that your browser provides. So let's see how we're going to do that. At first, I need you all to log in onto your virtual machine, to the directory of PHPCR itself. And after that, we have to start Jackrabbit. It doesn't start automatically in this case, so we have to start it. It sometimes takes a while. Usually it's pretty fast, but if you stop and start it quite often, it sometimes takes a while. After that, you can log into it with PHPCR shell. It's a tool Dan wrote. It's a pretty awesome command line tool to navigate through your tree structure. So you can look at all your nodes, you can set properties, you can do everything you want with it. In this case, we give the transport parameter Jackrabbit, because we're using Jackrabbit. You can also, what might be helpful later on, provide the name of the workspace. So you can use the correct workspace in one go. So is everybody logged in on PHPCR shell? Somebody's having trouble, or is everybody already, yeah? So for the next part, we are going to, not forgetting something? Yeah, I'm forgetting something. We are going to create some content. We have some commands that will be pretty helpful, at least that should be. I will put this slide back on if necessary. Pretty basic commands, just list the nodes, create new nodes, set a property, import a file, so import an image or a PDF document inside your tree. And pretty important, saving your session. I usually fuck that up, like every time I do something, I think it doesn't work, I forgot to save my session. You can have there are a lot of aliases to make it easier to type, because some commands are pretty long. Node list is just ls, as you would do in Linux, pretty handy. Node create, make there, because you can see nodes almost like a directory structure. Yeah. This is very helpful if you have some experience working on the shell. Not sure how many people rarely work on the shell, but we will use the shell quite a lot. So, for the first part, I'd like you to create some content just to get familiar with how PHPCR works, how to structure your nodes, how to create child nodes. So it would be nice if you could create this structure. If you want to create completely another structure or another content, that's fine. It might be a bit harder to follow the rest of the workshop, but it shouldn't matter a lot. But the most important thing is that you create some child nodes and that you import files. So that would be, in this case, this file, these two files, images here, and this PDF. In the project, there's a files directory with 3 sample files, these 2 images and the PDF. But feel free to use whatever documents you have available. So, in the workshop, I used the simple website as an example. Does anybody want to use different example? It's just it makes explaining stuff a lot easier because you have the URL and stuff. So. PHPCR SH as in shell. Oop. Yeah. No. Feel free to create a pull request. Yeah. I.
The bin command is that alias is actually an alias called node edit. And the node edit command is actually a really efficient way to edit nodes because you can edit all the properties of the node in one part and you can edit.
Yeah.
Let's use that in the export data. So that would be an alternative to node properties.
Node remove. Or RM. As in remove. Yeah, short's better. I forgot to tell you then, but just I did find a small bug with the node edit thing. If you use versioning and you try to save your node again, it will die pretty hard. Yeah, it tries to resave all the history, and that just fails horribly. Yeah. Yeah. It's just. I think it works because you can just. I think there's node property remove, but I'm not sure. It's your tool. Just one small notice about this command, the import file. I use relative path here, so you really should have started PHPCR shell from within the project directory. It isn't required, but you have to provide full path then if you. If you have created your content, you can try browsing through your structure, just using ls or cd to navigate through it. You can also see that Jackrabbit, in this case, creates extra properties for you, like created ads property. And by default, all nodes you create will get the node type NT unstructured, what just means for do whatever you want with it, so there's no restrictions. If you want to provide a type, which we will do later, you can add it as an argument after the path when creating a node.
Also a useful option for node list or ls is the level option, which will, by default, when you list the contents of a node, it will only list one level. But if you provide the level option, you can specify the depth, and then it will show the tree. And you can additionally specify the children as well, so children and node contents.
Yeah. I didn't know that. It's an alpha 5 or?
Yeah.
Well, that should be there. How is it going? Is everybody following the structure, how it works, how it's pretty basic, so I guess so, but if you are really used to a relational database, it's sometimes requires some reprogramming your brain to see the node structure. So I didn't type out every command, and to save some space on my slide, I always also left out title and content. There should be content, sorry, and content node for a media page. But it wouldn't fit on my slide anymore.
Just to say also, if you want to explore what commands in the PHP show, just type a list.
Yeah. It's probably the command I use most, because I keep forgetting.
Policy PDF is also a file import.
Yes, yes. It's in the same directory as the images. Oh yeah, I forgot to prefix it with files, I see.
The good thing about the file import is it will automatically correct it. If you did that step already, you notice it will create a JCR content folder. And within that folder, you'll see that it's stored the data, and the JCR data is also stored the command type.
Yeah.
So it's
How do you modify it?
Probably just,
Property set
yes.
again.
Yeah.
or you can use node edit.
Yeah. I have the export commands is on one of the next slides. When we're going to create a new node type, you are required to have it, so it's on there. Ah, did you exit your shell already? Then you're, yeah. Then yeah.
You should ask to save the session before it's shown.
Before exiting the shell.
Yeah.
What you can do if you don't want to type it again, check out branch part 2. And in the util folder, there's a reset.sh.
Sorry?
In the util folder, utility, util, there's reset.sh. And if you enter part 2 there, it should load the data from part 1 into your Jackrabbit. But you have to switch branch back to part 1, else you nothing to do anymore. So is almost everybody done, except he. Yeah? Then we're going to the next step. That's we're going to use PHP. So yay. We're going to set up a session, set up the repository connection inside PHP, which if you use Jackalope, they provide a sample config file, so you usually won't type it yourself, but that's, in this case I will provide it over here. Is it readable or is it just a bit too small, the code itself? Because I probably need glasses, but I think it's small. I can try to. Yeah. Yeah, it probably won't work. Huh? Won't work. Auto loading. I forgot that part. Yeah, sure. I have a bootstrap. This file should be the. I start again. In the example I created, so if you check out new branches, I use a bootstrap file. You can also just put it in your index, doesn't really matter. Important thing is what's really here, document root in Apache is set on CMS/web. I think the directory is already there. Yeah? It's empty probably, of a git keep file maybe. Yeah. So you should create inside your web directory index.php and in your CMS a bootstrap in PHP, whatever is helping for you. I usually put the bootstrap in PHP outside my document root, but do whatever you like today. And we use Composer, so above this line you have to require vendor/autoload.php. Has anybody never used Composer before? Yeah, very good. Yeah, pretty handy. If I should have added the autoload over here. If you should run this from the command line, nothing would happen. If you'd fire up your browser, nothing would happen still. So if you get no errors, it should be fine. I'll explain a little bit what it is. The factory is just to help you set up the connection a bit. It has some options to create your repository. So in this case, you have to define the URI where Jackrabbit is running. We have it running on port 8080. It's the default port. /server is the API access point of Jackrabbit to communicate with it. It uses XML to communicate. I think it's dev, D-A-V, web dev? Yeah, yeah, I'm not sure. It's XML, so I stopped there. But that's just a repository. You still have to log in. The default's always admin. You can change it by editing some XML file, I believe. After that, you log in with that credentials, and the default here is the name of the workspace. So that's the default workspace for now. If you ever get stuck, it will be on the next slide as well. You will need to run a reset command, which will load the correct data in your Jackrabbit again. But I have configured it so it will be set in the workspace part 1, 2, 3, or 4, whatever we are at. So you would have to change this part. If you ever run a reset, you need to, and with every part you reset, you have to change the workspace name here. Really inconsistent, I see. No prefix / here, and I have it here. Awesome. Yeah.
I think reset the content repository, but there's no /CMS.
How did you? Where's your reset command?
Okay, so
Oh yeah, sorry. Because you reset it. Part 1, part 2 actually, because you want there's what the date is. So yes. Yeah, it's need to restart. That's complicated. Yeah, that's one that's taking a while. If you restart it, it's annoying. If you check out part 1 again, else would be cheating. Yeah, if you do PHPCR, just open it, how you did it the previous time. Just -t, grab it. Yeah. Now use part 2. Yeah, it's a shortcut for workspace use, but now it should be there.
thanks.
Yeah. Anybody else is having problems, having something unclear? For? PHPCR.ezsc.
Easy summer camp.
Yeah. Yeah, I always have to think it. Don't forget HTTP before, else Chrome will think that you're an idiot or something. Yeah, that's correct. You just open the session, so it doesn't do anything at the moment. Yes. Yeah. Actually, it's only the factory, because even the factory is part of PHPCR, is it? Yeah. But even the factory interface is part of PHPCR, I think. Or is it part of JackLab? No, it's part of PHPCR. Yeah. Yeah. So does everybody got it working, or had no errors? As we will go to the next step, we might see errors as well, but we'll fix it then. Should I go on, or somebody actually is still typing from the screen? Sorry?
What's the line for the
Require vendor / autoload, but it depends from where you put the file. Because the vendor is the directory besides web, what file are you editing and what?
I use index PHP.
Yeah, in the web. Yeah, then you have to do // vendor because it's the vendor is right there. Yeah. That's yeah. I always use the bootstrap file for something like that outside the document root, so that's why I don't need to. Probably should have explained that. Yeah. You're almost done, right? Just a typo somewhere.
No, it's call to a member function login on an object.
Ah, can you open it again? Credentials is new repository. You didn't get an error about get repository?
About?
The get repository? Can you forward them to repository? Oh, nice. Ah, that's probably what you are having as well on. 8080/server. HTTP.
URI.
Ah, yes. I made a typo in the slide first. I double checked. There is an issue. URI URL, you mean? Or? No, oh yeah, yeah. Or at least throw an exception or whatever, or yeah. So everybody's sort of ready? And sort of kind of ready. Yeah, that's working. So we're now going to retrieve some of the nodes we just inserted via the shell. These are the basic commands you need for that. Again, there's probably missing a lot of code here because you don't just want to paste this in. The first thing you almost always need to do is retrieve the root node from the session. It's a very specific node from Jackrabbit in this case, with node type GCR root, so it has a special meaning. From that root node, you can access all your other nodes. So you can access the CMS node in this case, and you do that by calling to the root node function getNode with the name of the node, and that's without leading slash. When you do getNode, you will get a new object with a new node, in this case the CMS node. And we do this separately because in the next step we will do again a getNode on the CMS node, but we will be passing a complete path to it. So if you have the request from your browser, it can be /press/media/image1. That's not a really good example at this point, but you can paste the whole path into the getNode, and you will get the node from the deeper level. So that's why we have a separate variable CMS node in this case. Some other functions you need to be aware of at this moment. There will be more. The function hasNode, just to check does it actually exist, because we also want to handle 404 errors, of course. So, and the last thing we want to do now is check if the node type is not empty file. The nodes we created at this moment is either empty unstructured or empty file. So for now, that's enough. And with that, you should have the current node from the page you are requesting, if it exists, and it's not a file at the moment. And I need to peek to the next slide, if I didn't forget to do something. I did, I guess. Because now we just have the node, but we also want to show some properties for the node. But I might wait until everybody sort of has this running. You can try for damping the node to see what it has. Because the method we are going to use next is get property value. There are actually multiple methods that has to do with properties, because you also have get property, and that will return an object for that property that has information about its name, its type, its value, of course. But the shortcut is get property value, which is very useful if you just want to return a string. So if you do current node get property value title, you should be able to echo the title to your browser now, and the content, of course. So the idea is to now have a very simple website that just shows title and content for the 3, 4 pages, whatever you have created now. And that's for now part 1. Any questions? Am I making myself sort of clear? Because I... Yeah. That's up to you how you want to do it. You can also do it by get parameter if you want, or... Yeah. I think in branch part 2, yeah, I'm pretty sure I did. I added the htaccess, so it probably will be overwritten when you force checkout. But I think I just ripped a part of symphonies.htaccess. But again, a big part of this workshop is just you guys trying to play with it. So it's not that I want to force you in whatever structure you want to use in your application itself. So for the paths myself, I used $_server request URI to retrieve this. So if everything is going well, you should almost have the first title and content on your screen, I guess. What time is the break, actually? Does anybody know? I don't think it's on the card, but not sure. Oh, loads of time. Is this working for you guys, or do you want me to type along with you, that you don't see the functions, but just see me type? Do you prefer that, or? Yeah? More people prefer that? I can cheat, I can just check out part 2, and I can explain how I did it there. Oh. Oh, nice. Delete. So over here I have the root node, as I told, and I retrieved the CMS node. For myself, I created a simple helper function to send a response to the browser. It's not really required, but it helps me deal with successful response and 404 response. I also trimmed the request URI. It's not yet required, but in a later part we are going to use get parameters as well, so I needed to do some magic. I added a little trick to filter out the homepage, because that's you created this as /schema/homepage, but you actually want it to be just on slash at the root. Ah, that helps. Thanks. So after that, I just checked does not exist. If so, I retrieved the current node. I then check if it's not a file, because otherwise you would get exceptions because title and content weren't available. And I just sent it once. If it didn't, if it was a file, I just mentioned I couldn't handle it, and the 404 to handle the non-existing nodes. Yep.
Interesting ways to handle content. If you use it, what we only like to publish, you said you map classes to controllers.
Yeah. 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 Like I said, in this workshop, we are going to write very clean code, because you would never probably ever find this useful in actual applications. But for me, it made more sense to show it this way, so you actually know how PHPCR works, how you access your data. How many of you did access the Symfony, did attend the Symfony CMS workshop from Dynamy? 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah, the most of you. Because there we sort of skipped, we didn't skip, we went over the controllers and mapping routes based on types on. Oh yeah, oh, now I understand, yeah. 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 And for now, it should not look like this, because I didn't start Jackrabbit yet. But oh, yeah. And we have a home page. I also created an about page, the press page. I think I didn't create a media. No, I didn't create a media title. So then you would get an exception like this. 404 would just show not found in this case. If I access the image, no, I would get the error because anti-file is not yet implemented. Any questions so far? things unclear? Do you want to go to the next step already, or? What is the error you're having?
The confined CMS thing, it's just a command line. And then I get on the very first one already error that CMS is not there. When I do it in the shell, I see it.
Did you use reset once?
Sorry?
The reset command? Have you used reset?
No.
Yeah, it would be in a different workspace, so that's why I was asking. But then that's not the issue. So if you log in with PHPCR shell, yeah. But, can you do workspace colon list? Because you used the profile there. List should show all the workspaces, and that should be good. Can you exit the shell for me? Arrow up, and no, not folder. Just your arrow up to get the previous command. Another one, and then add dash. No, the PHPCR shell one. Dash T. Space and then dash T. So a minus. Yes, minus T, and then jackrabbit. Because I think you're using MySQL in this one. And if you do ls, no? Yeah, it's not here. You created it in the MySQL version. Yeah, probably, yeah. Yeah, what the easiest part for you now is check out part 2. I think I have it on the next slide. I will be with you in a moment. Here at the bottom, I have the command to reset for part 2. It should load the data in your jackrabbit, and you should have the code already to display some of the properties. It's big enough. Yeah, it's good as well. From the root of the project, so not from your web folder. Mm-hmm.
After I save the session, is there anything more that I need to do?
No. No. Yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's empty. Yeah, that's correct. If you did you also edit the index.php
Yeah.
already?
Yeah. At first I added something mine, but then I copied
Can you do a var dump either in your bootstrap or in your index.php? I'm guessing it doesn't show any errors, but. Oh, that works. So I'm guessing it already fills in the bootstrap then, but. You just copied it, or?
no, it's myself.
Is this URI or URL?
I think so.
Yeah, that one should work probably. You should get. Yeah, that's correct. And the parameter key of the options, did you type that or did you copy that? It's URI, not URL, so I'm not over there. Did you grab URI, not your URL? So I'm not sure, you might, I can't really see what you typed there, but that's a lot better. No, it's the PHPCR. Or dot. Yeah, this one. Nice. No, CMS is empty because it's from that root. So /homepage should work. In your case, /about should work because that's in the fixture data. Did you have any data already?
Yeah, PHP
CR/SH. Yeah. Yeah, but, excellent. Yeah, you did the same thing as he did.
Okay.
Because this, you're now opening the configuration for Dennis workshop, which stores his data in MySQL and not in Jackrabbit.
Okay.
You're connecting to Jackrabbit, so you have no data. You probably need to check out, run that command, yeah. If you only run reset, because you already have the code, doesn't matter much, you still need to change the workspace in your bootstrap file, the last line, to part 2 instead of, So, how's everybody doing? The rest, it works. Everybody has titles and contents. Nice. I'll move on to step 2. If anybody is falling behind, just ask. In this part, we are going to create a mixin to structure our content a bit. And we are going to add some support for accessing files from your browser, so to show the images, to download the PDF. Important thing is, it's probably on the next slide, if my pointer thingy works. It's not yet on the next slide. We will be creating this mixin. A mixin is almost the same like node type. The only difference is you can add multiple mixins to a node. So you can almost see it like an interface on the PHP class. It's sort almost the same. Yeah. 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 In this case, we are going to create a pretty simple one. It's called simple page, even more simple. And we're only going to require 2 properties, namely the title and the content. We already created, so the mixin should work directly if you created all the titles and contents. Why isn't this thing working anymore? Pretty annoying. But before we do that, Dan already mentioned it, you need to, before you start PHPCR shell, you need to export the editor variable in Bash to either Vim or Nano, whatever you prefer. I think Emacs is not installed, so not sure if anybody uses Emacs, but. Okay. When we first got the box as speakers, there was Emacs installed, and I tried this command, and I didn't know how to exit Emacs. It was embarrassing. But you need to make sure that the set, otherwise the node type edit command won't work. You just start PHPCR shell. All node types you create are globally around the repository, so they aren't specific to a workspace. If you run this command, node type edit mix simple page, you probably already should have the first lines in an editor. And you have to add the other lines. The third line in this case adds some possibilities to your mixin. So in this case, each node that has the mixin simple page is orderable. You won't be using it, but you would be able to order your nodes within within your tree. You can query it. So with the SQL2, you can search for it and search on properties. And the most important one in this case is mixin, because we are creating a mixin. The mix in front of simple page is just a namespace. You can create custom namespaces, but the mix namespace is just used for all mixins. After that, we are going to define properties. So a dash is used for properties. Name of property, type of property, and on the next line, might even be possible on the same line. It's pretty flexible. Yeah, you can also use just M instead of mandatory, I think. But then I don't know what I have typed anymore, so I usually just type the whole thing. So we define that the title is mandatory and the content is mandatory.
By the way, we've got a new website, PHPCR, phpcr.github.io, and that's got everything, all the documentation, just let everything on. So if you want to look closer, website, documentation.
Should I try opening it here as well? You mean this one? Yeah. There's way too much in it. Do you know if this also is part of the spec, or is this just part of Jackrabbit and we happen to... Okay. Yeah. You can get lost in here. Are you looking the short syntax? Or? I think it's near the top. Yeah, that's it. See? That's how obvious it is. You just miss it. I have never used it in this format because it's just unreadable. So I will get back to the slides so you can type it over a bit. Yeah, you should save and exit. And don't forget to save the session because that's still necessary. At least I think it is. I do find creating node types and mixins a bit annoying sometimes. Because the error checking isn't always very good, not just in PHPCR shell, but general as well. So you get errors back without knowing what actually went wrong. And if you forgot something, for instance, if you forget the mandatory, you can't add it later because it's too big of a change to the node type. So you have to delete the node type, and there isn't a simple solution for deleting a node type, except for deleting some XML file on your disk. So it's pretty annoying. Yeah. That's true. In MySQL implementation, it's way easier.
And also, what we're doing here, we're defining the node type in PHP shell. Normally, you define this
Yep. So this, everybody has this. Oh. You checked out part 3 maybe?
No.
Or reset to part 3? You already have it, so...
No. I created it once, and then I tried to edit it again, and
Yeah.
it just said query.
Mm-hmm.
So I changed the order of query mixing.
Yeah,
It
no,
lost all
that's
the data.
yeah, that's what I just mentioned. It's not that easy to fix that at the moment. So, what you have to do is, if you exit the thing and just say no now.
Or
Yeah.
yes.
No, not try again. Yeah. Exit shell.
Session save.
It won't save because your mixin is broken. Yeah. It should be on the bottom, I guess.
Query.
Yeah, no, just close and exit. Yeah. RM,
Sorry?
remove RM slash user slash local slash, yeah, it's a long one. Slash local slash jackrabbit, yeah, slash repository slash no types. Yeah, enter.
The whole file.
Yeah. And now you have to restart jackrabbit.
Jackrabbit.
Yeah, it will fail. So slash util. No, that won't work. It's slash util jackrabbit. The stop. I forgot to add a restart. Very handy. On the start.
There's also an alias of mixins. So if you just type in the word mixins on your show, it should list all the mixins in
You need to add it again. Yeah, just. Oh, that's yes. Should be, yeah. Yes, that's fine. One no, 2 yeses. Yeah, that's correct. Woo.
What does it stand for? Mix ins.
Very good question. I think it's just coming from mixing in, like mixing in baking products in your food or something. I'm not sure where the name is coming from. Yeah. 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 Yeah.
So when you extend the node type, it will extend again. You basically just putting stuff in this one. It's more or less.
Yeah. But the difference is it doesn't really define the properties for you. You still have to do it yourself, so it's a bit in between.
And you can also query, query later, query on
Yeah, I was a bit afraid for this tab because it's pretty fragile in Jackrabbit to create it. It offers some nice features, so I just wanted to show.
And also, Jackrabbit is quite limited with node types.
Yeah.
There's a new version of Jackrabbit,
Okay.
which is
Most of it worked out of the box, right? I think Lucas tried it already. No? Oh.
about 6 months ago, we went out of the box.
And then they changed everything. Awesome. Anybody still needs the screen? No? Then I'm going to toss this away. Now we need to add the mixin to our nodes itself. There's this command. Did everybody create a title and content for all nodes you created? Then you can try the error. You can try adding it to a new node, but this way you will add the mixin to the given node. But if you would forgot to add a title or a content and you try to save, Jackrabbit will tell you to go fix your problems. let's be gentle. So it really how do you say it? Just prevents you from saving crap in your database. It's pretty cool feature in my opinion. So just add this to all the pages you created. So homepage, press, media, maybe an about page. Not sure if everybody created all pages.
Another useful feature of the node list command is that you can list the schema properties.
Yeah.
So you can list the properties which are defined in the schema, for which you have any values. So that's node list, dash dash template.
Oh.
But at the moment, your landing page is got both the title and the content. So
I'm going to try that. Yeah, I'm going over here. Jackrabbits. What do I have here? I don't have anything here. Oh, slash. What am I doing? Port true. I can't type. I can't see the bottom half of my own screen. Really annoying. What? Which branch am I on? Oh, dear God. Where to? Yeah, that's the problem. Holy shit. So if I would remove property slash homepage slash title. Oh, almost. I can't type. Ah, just with node types. That might be it, yeah. Sounds familiar. Ah, just node types, yeah, yeah. Cool. Just file an issue. Everybody added the mixins to their pages? Anybody having trouble? Cool. Yeah, that's true. The reset, I left it out, so that's true. I'll just go on. I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. Yeah. In your code, you can use the isNode type, which we already used, to also check against mixins. So instead of checking if it's not a file, you can now check if it's a simple page, what you would expect. Yeah, yeah. So you don't even have to do a set anymore because you can be sure it exists. I'll just get to the next one already because we already used the function, so it should be pretty simple. The break is at 2:45. Might be a challenge to finish this in 5 minutes, but we can try. To render images, you need these functions or need sort of this structure. Again, you can check for anti-file. So you do if it's mixing, then just show the content. If it's anti-file, do some logic for files. Part of the node type anti-file is that it should have a child anti-resource. So we can just get the child node JCR resource, not anti-resource, JCR resource. And that defines the resource of the file itself. So it has data, that's binary data. And in this case, no, resource as in a file, a resource. So in this case, we will use the get property instead of the get property value because we want to get the string representation of the binary file. So with this, you can echo the content of the file to your browser. Of course, you need to tell your browser what it is. So you need to retrieve the MIME type from the resource and set a header with content type to tell your browser it's an image or it's a PDF. Yeah, you can, yeah. In one of the earlier versions I tried, I used the stream to just get the hex version, the base64 version of the resource to just inline in the HTML render the images. Your browser doesn't like that very much with images from 1 MB, but it works. But now I used it. Now if you use this way, you just can create an URL for it. So if you have this and point your browser to, for example, this one, you should see an image in your browser. If everything works. Or a PDF, yeah. But probably not at this spot. Well, it can be. Maybe we just try to, yeah, well, that doesn't really matter actually. To render one image and then go grab something to drink. Somebody already has questions about how this works or why this works like this, or somebody stuck, or getting an error.
Media works fine.
Image one. Did you retrieve the file first before the resource? Yeah, you need to do get node of the anti-file. Oh yeah,
It's already here.
Oh yeah, sorry. Yeah, nodes, node get node resource. Knees. Failing about that one?
Yeah, it looks fine.
Did I forget one step in between on the screen? Part 3, I think. Oh yeah, it's branch 4, because that's the finished part 3. Yeah, I messed up on the slide. The name is GShare content, not GShare resource. Not sure how I managed to fuck it up. Have you checked out branch 3? Part 3. Yeah, yeah. You can blame me. Yeah, it's probably the same. It's my fault, not yours. GCR resource. It should be GCR content. Yeah, that one. If that doesn't work, then it's your fault.
Just check it out. Same as you did.
Yeah, but and this errors? Did you refresh, hard refresh, or? Because it's. Yeah, you need to check out the correct branch before doing reset, because the reset files aren't there in all the branches. So in this, if you want a completed example, you need to check out part 4 and then reset part 4.
It's kind of a wait.
Yeah, check out part 4. Yeah.
Here is a check. Okay, and then it did already here, but there's the error. Okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure what's going wrong here. It's adding a token to the file, to the reset. You have the same error. Nice. Yeah, I'm going to check. I probably accidentally committed an. Yeah, almost. What did I do? What did they do? Yeah, not sure what I messed up there. I'm pretty good at messing stuff up. Can you show me the error again? What page? Yeah, it's the brackets. Can you, in the reset scripts, remove the brackets? Are you logged in with SSH, or did you use the console?
No.
From, oh, PuTTY, yeah, yeah, but it should still be bash, right? Yeah. It's a minor difference, apparently. But if you edit the reset.sh, and that line, I think, let's see the. Yeah. So if you remove the brackets around, yeah, there. No, that's the same as here. If you edit the reset.sh, edit the file, the reset.sh itself. I created a bug in it. Yeah. Yeah. Down a bit. The function load CND, that one. This part, if you remove the brackets from around CND. I had problems with it as well, so I might just messed up in this one branch, but I'm not sure. Oh, sorry. Just run the reset script again. It's still starting, probably. Yeah.
It's started, but I got an error. I have to debug. I know.
What's the error you're getting? Let's see this. Did you reset part 4?
Yeah, he's checked out. Part 4?
Yeah, it's. I probably did. I fixed this one time, but apparently not in all branches or something. I fixed it here. It's pretty weird. Yeah, no, it's my fault.
Ah, okay. That was
Yeah. Yeah. After resetting? If you, you should edit your bootstrap file, either or your index, depending how you did it, and change your workspace. Same for you, I guess. The last line. Oh no, you checked out the branch. Sorry. Yeah. What? Can you log in with PHPCR SH and check if anything is there? Oh, sorry. Yeah, well, that doesn't work very well. I'm going to check. Yeah, that's it. Halfway during creating this workshop, I changed the file names, and I forgot to fix it in part 4, I see. If you check out part 5, reset to part 4, check out part 4 again, it should work. Yeah, because I fixed something in branch 5, part 5, and I forgot to backport it to part 4. But yeah, it's time for break.